Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sean and welcome back to Shawnswrld. And today, look, I'm an independent contractor for the tech industry and I 100% do not get paid to do any of this. That is a fact. But today, what game we're going to be looking at is actually a really cool game, and I really hope that y'all appreciate it because I spent a lot of time digging deep for this. Hold up. Hello. Wait, what do you mean stop filming? No, I'm literally seconds into the intro. I'm about to be done. What do you mean you don't care? Cool, whatever, bro. Like, I'm canceled. What the I'm almost done. Whatever, man. I guess I can go back to being a pizza boy. Star Wars 1313 is one of the most legendary games that never came out. It was supposed to take players deep into the heart of the Star Wars universe, not in the stars, not with the Jedis, but deep down in the shadows of Coruscant, the city planet that never sleeps. This wasn't about lightsabers or the Force, this was about the streets, the sewers, the criminals, and the people who lived in the dirty layers beneath the shining city. It was going to be gritty, dark, and personal, and in the center of all of it was going to be Boba Fett, a young Boba Fett at that. And at first, nobody even knew Boba Fett was going to be the main character. The original 2012 E3 demo featured a nameless bounty hunter. He moved like Nathan Drake, diving into cover, firing blasters, and moving through collapsing platforms. The graphics were fantastic for the time. Players were stunned, people left the demo buzzing. This wasn't just another Star Wars game. It was going to be something different, bold, and next level. Behind the scenes, LucasArts was working with Industrial Light and Magic, Lucasfilm's animation, and Skywalker sound to make the game look and feel like a real Star Wars movie. They even used motion capture and performance capture for the characters. Everything from explosions to lights were being handled by some of the best talents in the industry. The plan was simple: make a Star Wars game that didn't rely on Jedi or the Force and instead focused on the criminals, bounty hunters, and the corruption hiding in the deepest corners of the galaxy. The game's name actually came from the level 1313, a real place deep beneath the surface of Coruscant. The deeper the level, the more dangerous the people. 1313 was where the worst of the worst lived, worked, and fought for power. You weren't walking around a peaceful Jedi temple. You were fighting for survival in a place filled with smugglers, gangs, spies, and that's exactly where Boba Fett was going to fit in. The game would have started on Tatooine. Boba Fett, still young, still without his iconic armor, was trying to earn his respect of Jabba the Hutt by doing missions and proving himself. He would have worked his way up through the criminal world. The player would have followed his journey from desert jobs to becoming a true bounty hunter legend. But this wasn't just about fame. It was about pain, betrayal, and revenge. One of Boba Fett's closest allies in the game was going to be a droid, who eventually turns on him. That betrayal would have become a major part of his growth, showing players how Boba became the hardened, feared bounty hunter we see in the movies. The gameplay would have been a mix of combat, exploration, and upgrades. Think of it like Uncharted meets Star Wars. Player would duck behind cover, fire blasters, throw grenades, and climb across massive gaps. There would have been high-speed chases, falling buildings, and even shootouts in crowded underground streets. Over time, players would unlock new gear, guns, grappling hooks, armor, enhanced power, jetpacks, and more. The more you played, the more Boba evolved into the bounty hunter we all know. It was being built in Unreal Engine 3, and the demo footage looked almost next-gen at the time. The lighting effects were cinematic, the cutscenes flowed right into the gameplay. Every part of the demo looked and felt like it belonged in a Star Wars movie. And for the time, fans were seeing a different side of the galaxy, a place where there was no heroes, just survivors. See, now behind the scenes, something big was really happening, and in 2012, Disney bought Lucasfilm. That's including everything: Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and LucasArts. At first, things didn't seem too bad. The team kept working, they kept building, they were excited about showing more. But then in March 2013, everything stopped. Disney announced that they were shutting down the internal development of LucasArts. They wanted to focus on licensing Star Wars games to other studios instead of making them in-house. This meant 1313 was frozen. Just like that, the most promising Star Wars game ever made was dead. And for a while, there was a small bit of hope. Some reports said that Disney might find another studio to finish the game. The story and the concept art were already finished. They even said that the game was 75% ready in terms of design. But nothing ever happened, and in January 2014, the trademark was officially dropped. Star Wars 13 was gone. Fans were heartbroken about this, developers were stunned, people who had worked on the game shared details online over the years, concept art, unused storylines, and even hidden plot twists. One leak revealed that the game would have included Coruscant's politicals, gang wars, and Boba's transformation into a full-blown killer. The game wasn't just action, it was a full character development of Boba Fett, showing how pain and betrayal turned him into the armored body hunter we all fear. That level of storytelling was rare for Star Wars games, and especially at the time as well. The cancellation didn't just hurt fans, it also changed how Star Wars games were made for years. After 1313 was cancelled, Star Wars titles became more careful, more polished, and less risky. EA made several games, but they promised and focused on safe bets like Battlefront. There was nothing like 1313's gritty cinematic vibe for a long time. It felt like the spirit of 1313 was gone. But not forever. In 2015, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy said that they still looked at concept art and ideas from 1313 as gold. She hinted that parts of it could come back someday, and they kinda did. In the final season of the Clone Wars, a scene takes place on level 1313. It was a small nod, but it meant people at Lucasfilm still remember. Later in the Book of Boba Fett, we got to see Boba's emotional journey. Another sign that people still wanted to explore his past. And in 2023, Ubisoft revealed Star Wars Outlaw, a game that's set in the criminal underworld. No Jedis, no lightsabers, just smugglers, bounty hunters, and living in a dangerous world. It's not 1313, but it's clearly inspired by it. Even now, years later, Star Wars 1313 is still remembered, not just because it was cancelled, but because of what was promised. A story of one of the galaxy's most mysterious characters. A game that dared to go where no Star Wars game has gone before. A world without the Force, a world without fear, a world with fear, crime, and survival. If it had released, it might have changed exactly how Star Wars games were made. It could have pushed developers to go deeper, to take more risks, to trust that fans wanted more than just the same Jedi stories again and again and again. 1313 could have done what The Mandalorian did years later, showed that the Star Wars galaxy is more than just one family and one war. It's full of people trying to live, trying to escape, trying to survive, and that's why it still trends on Reddit and YouTube. That's why people still post concept art and say, what if? That's why I'm making this fucking video. So look, here we are, a decade later, and Star Wars 1313 is still not released. Mainly because Disney's bullshit that they always have. There has to be a family-friendly environment, whatever. But maybe that's the biggest sign of how powerful this game was and could have been. The dream of it, the fact that Boba Fett, you were going to play as him and rise through the top of the ranks of all the grit and the nasty and dirty of the streets of Coruscant. Hunting, fighting, and surviving is just enough to live on. The truth about Star Wars 1313 is this. It's bold, it was beautiful, and it was the story of Star Wars that fans didn't know that they needed. Now look, even if it never comes back or even ever releases, if we never hear anything of it again, it'll always be remembered, buried deep on level 1313. Catch you on the next one.